All right, so this is good. I have a chat now. Of course, it's
Cool.
going to take people a couple minutes to get in. And that's the
I'm gonna
unfortunate.
go and get into the chat.
Yeah, well, this is the unfortunate reality of live streaming is if something messes up, it just kills your video. And it really sucks because, like, we're having a good conversation, but
We were
hopefully,
jamming in there. It's okay.
hopefully,
See,
hopefully.
so my thing has always been throughout everything in life to get good at something, you have to just do it. So we're just doing it and we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So, have you been able to find it, though, is the question.
Yeah, yeah, I'm on it right now, I think.
All right, sick. I wish it would show for me.
Well, this one says 18 minutes ago. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me close my app out and try
Oh,
again.
oh, it says we're live. It says 18 minutes ago.
Yeah, that's the one I was on, said 18 minutes ago. 3 watching live.
Oh, well, I think that's us right now. All right, guys. If you get pop in the chat, let us know if it's working, because I've changed some things in the back end here so that it shouldn't cut off this time. Hopefully.
I'm gonna put a note in the chat. Yeah, look, that's our live.
All right, sick. Well, if we can continue our conversation,
Sure.
Connor O'Sully and Dmitry Brutsky. Uh,
Excellent battle.
yeah. So,
Battles plural.
well, exactly. So, like I said, I thought it was really cool that that's how that was your test. That was your test for pro. And I think obviously Connor did a great job driving against Dimitri. Uh, we all know how good, uh, we all know how good Dimitri is, and to see such a great battle was fantastic. And it's an unfortunate way for Connor to kind of end his, I guess,
Yeah,
end his
I know he
season.
was like gunning for number one. He
Yeah.
really was. And these dudes, like a lot of them, are such competitors that they set these like goals for themselves. And even though he finished second, he had an amazing showing. Was the what? How many years has he been in pro spec for?
This is his second year,
I
and
should know this. Okay,
He's only been driving, I believe, 5 years, 4 or 5 years.
dude's a just certified wheelman. So I
Yeah,
think he should be extremely proud of himself. But I know that's from someone who also sets lofty goals. That's tough to be like, I
yeah,
did good still, even though you
hmm
didn't hit that like very specific thing that you're going after.
yeah. And we'll talk about this when we talk about the top three championship people that get their license and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
like I'll talk about what I talked about with him, and I hopefully some future plans, but we'll see. Actually, I don't know how much I can talk about, but
Ooh,
there's stuff.
let's get him to spill.
But um, then obviously the next big battle. So you got to remember. So obviously 1 and 2 was between TLO and Conor O'Sullivan. Unfortunately, the
Right.
battle between first and second kind of got over quickly once TLO beat DJ Stubstad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Tommy wins the championship. Okay, cool. We go in top 16. Now the battle's between Love, Cody Buchanan, and Austin Mana for that final third spot. And that third spot's important because the top three drivers in the prospect season get their pro license.
Right.
Um, so I know all of those guys were gunning for that third spot because they all want that pro license. And obviously Love's been in pro before, but I believe he has to get his license again to get back in there because it's been a long enough
Correct.
break, I guess you could say.
You can
Um,
petition, but obviously it always feels nicer to have like earned the spot in.
exactly.
Obviously, I'm never gonna have any gripes with petitioning into Pro One. They don't let anybody in that doesn't deserve to be there, so I'll die on that hill. But still, I'm sure the preferred method of entry is to just crush that top three and just
hmm
right into your license. So
Yeah, and obviously it's easier said than done, but it's one of those things where it kind of lined up to be really cool. So like obviously you had Love. in top 8 going against Brudski, which is another one of those, okay, prove it. Okay, you want to be in pro? Prove it, you know?
Yeah.
Like you're going against another
Yep.
pro driver here. Prove that you're going to be up in pro. And it was another good battle. I believe something happened in that battle, and I can't remember what it was.
Let's go. Let's consult the notes.
Yeah, but again, once Love got knocked out in top 8, then it was a battle between Cody Buchanan and Austin Mata, and they made it all the way to the final 4. And again, it's kind of like the same story here of where Dmitry Bruschi kind of ruins the day for 3 different people. And then,
It's always got to be somebody playing like Dream Ruiner, which
oh yeah,
it's comp, dude. Like, come
yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah. So basically, you get Dmitry Bruschi going against Cody Buchanan, and I believe Cody, something happened with Cody's car or something, and he ends up losing to Mitri Bruschi. So, in turn, Austin Mata automatically gets 3rd place. He doesn't have to win his battle against Margaritas anymore because he was ahead of him in the bracket. So it kind of takes pressure off Mata at that point. But the cool thing about Mata is if you look at Mata's top 8 battle, he goes against a pro driver. And guess what he does? He beats him. So I think that the event went as it should. It was really cool to see. There were 2 pro drivers driving Prospect this year, Dmitry Bruschi and Rudy Hansen. And in order to get one of those top 3 spots, either you had to win a couple events like Conor Osoli did, or you had to beat them, which is what Austin did. You know,
Right.
and then
It had to be a good showing.
and it was kind of cool just the way it ended out. And so Mata beats his battle against the pro driver and makes it into the final 4. Unfortunately, he ran out of tires again his battle against Margaritas, which it, it's kind of it happens when you make 1,000+ horsepower on, was it 55s I believe they're on. I can't even remember
Right.
anymore. And
Do you think only regulating pro spec by the tire is the way to go, or do you think there should be
there's a
more
bunch of
rules
regulations
about?
in Prospect though. If you remember,
Yeah.
you
I mean, there's no
some goofy
horsepower rule.
ones. Right.
There's no engine rule.
But the whole idea is you can have as much horsepower as you want, but you still have to have tire at the end of 2 laps. So then obviously that was the challenge for Austin. He didn't know how to get out of throttle sometimes and save some tire.
Ever.
So, and it ends up costing you a battle,
Right.
And so it's one of those things where I think the tire, it really does, and the fact that they're all on the same tire, I appreciate as well, because then it really becomes to, okay, who's going to be setting their car up to go fast on these tires and make them last for all of 2 laps. Those are your 2 big things. And the cool thing about a guy like, for example, Conor O'Sully, who's won a couple rounds and has done really well this year, he's not making 1,000 horsepower in that car. I think he's in the 8s, but the car's come really one of the fastest cars on grid, and he's making a whole 200 less than Austin Mata. Granted, Austin's car is obviously fast.
Right. But that boy is blowing the tires off.
Right. But the thing is horsepower isn't everything, and it's because of the tires. And
Right.
I do think that I appreciate that that's how it's run, and you can make Prospect work with 800 horsepower.
Yeah. Do you think so? How low do you think you can go horsepower wise and still be competitive in pro spec?
I mean, obviously, people can take my responses, take it or leave it, because I don't drive in Prospect, so it's, but I mean,
yeah.
It's tough because, so for example, that Hayton kid from Ireland, I believe, is in the 600s, and it looked like he was struggling for horsepower a lot of the time. So
yeah,
I'm thinking 700.
Track dependent too.
Yeah, I mean 700 is going to be good for a lot of the tracks. You got to remember in Utah you're going to lose about 10% of your power because of the air, unless you are naturally aspirated. I believe if that's correct, or blower, or is it? I can't remember. What is it?
I think you're right.
Because obviously you lose horsepower if you're a turbo car, because of the air. But so like for an example, like Utah, you're probably going to want a little bit more power. It's a bigger track as well. So I mean 700 is probably your limit. But it's one of those things where you have to be be good at car setup, which is what I appreciate about it. Um, being like setup, and you see that with the way Oselli's car drives or the way TLO's car drives, because they're noticeably faster than most cars on grid, and they're noticeably more committed in a lot of places. They're not afraid to rob people's doors. They're very in control of their cars. It's
Yeah, or whole entire back of the car. Yeah.
Well, that was why it was so shocking to see Conor Sully destroy the back end of Jay's car, because that's not usually what Conor does. He's usually very good um, at driving and not doing that, and but being on the
Right.
edge. And so when you see him obliterate the backside of Jay the Drifter's car, it's like, well, I wasn't expecting that, you know. And you know, if sometimes you get caught in smoke and you have a faster car, and that's what happens sometimes. I mean, look at Federico. We'll get to that later, but you got Chelsea Nanofa gripping up your car, and then all of a sudden you're keeping up with everyone, and now you have to drive it differently. And if you don't drive it
Right.
differently, you're just gonna run into someone, which is what he did. So,
Right.
um, honestly, I think the right people got the top three this year. I think that they were all of those guys were on point this year. I want to give a big shout out to Cody Buchanan as well, though. He did pretty well last year for his rookie season, and then honestly didn't look back. Not a crazy build at all, and just a good solid driver, and has kind of kept his nose and everything. And it'll I'm kind of curious to see if FD would be like, okay, since you have the same points as Austin Mana, then we're gonna go ahead and give you a license as well. It would probably make sense, because
Does he
the only reason Austin Mana technically gets third is because he higher placed. He ended at a higher place than Cody Buchanan did last round in
right.
St. Louis. That's the only reason Austin gets third over Cody. So they have the same amount of points. So I'm curious to
Yeah.
see if
You
they're
got to
gonna.
break the tie somehow.
Well, but you get what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's like it's kind of silly that, okay, you don't get your license because you weren't as high placed on the previous round to the last round, because that means Cody
Does
was
Cody does he
higher
want to move up?
placed than. Uh, oh, touch my screen.
Good luck. You're in the dark now. Does Cody even want to move up though? Have you talked to him about that?
I don't think it's about that. I think it's about. I haven't talked to Cody about it, but here's the thing. I don't think it's about that. I think it's about having that license and going up when you're ready. So, for
Mm-hmm.
example, I've talked to the top three drivers. Um, all of them are in different kind of situations, and I'll talk about each of their situations. I had not talked to Cody about his situation, but it's nice to have the license. Let's say he has a bad round next year, car blows up, or let's say he gets his license and he's like, okay, instead of running next year in Pro Spec, I'm gonna save all my money for next year and not drive Pro Spec, and then I'm gonna build this my car up for Pro, save all that money so that when I go into Pro, I'm not struggling for money because ran the whole year of Pro Spec the year before.
Right.
So that's kind of what my point is about giving out a license to people, is you don't have to use it that next year, and it's smart for a lot of people not to. Um, Especially if you're capped on money, and let's say your dream is to run pro, and you run pro spec and you get your license, but you're barely scraping by on the money side. What I would recommend is not run pro spec the
Yeah.
second year. Save your money so that, and obviously build the pro car, but save your money for that next
Mhm.
season, and then jump into pro with a nice stack of cash that's gonna hopefully last you for that season. Because
Yeah, and we all saw how building a pro car over the winter from one season to another went for a few of these drivers because not
yeah,
great.
well, I mean, and you never know what's gonna happen. We all saw what happened
Right.
to Derek Madison at the beginning of the year. I mean, how many thousands of dollars it cost him just to blow, like, it was his truck that cost him tons of money at the beginning of the year. So it's like you never know really what's going to happen. So if you can start yourself off at any good foot, and like you want to run pro and that's your whole thing, then I would do that. But
Plus, I think we've seen a lot of guys take a year off and do really well. Like TLO took a year off and he's just killing it.
Brad Dan,
Sometimes you gotta like
you know,
stop, regroup, get your ducks in a row.
hmm
Derek's ducks are like, who knows where they are anymore. Poor
they're
guy. Did he
credit
just
card
break a
company took them.
mirror? Did a cat cross his path, man? Can't
But
catch a break.
yeah, but the thing is um so let's just talk about the three guys that we know got licenses. You got TLO. He wants to build a C7. I think interesting choice, but okay. That's not going to be cheap,
I
you know.
C7s, like, don't get me wrong, dude. Biggest fanboy ever of a C7. For drifting, I don't know. I don't know if it has the same like Kerchow as a C6 would.
Well, I mean, Zhao tried to do it. Barry on, but
Jot that down.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but the thing is he's a good driver. We know he's a good driver. I'm sure he's got a great team up there in Canada to build the car. So I'm really curious to see what he does for next year. I know that he wants to run Pro 1. He has an option to possibly go try and run DMEC instead. But what he said to me is if he won the championship in Pro Spec is that he would try and go run Pro. If he didn't win the championship in Pro Spec, then he said he would probably want to run Pro Spec and then probably try to do some DMEC for next year. But since he won Pro Spec, I think his plan that he wants to do is run Pro. But I talked to him. Obviously, money's going to be the big question with him that he needs to figure out. Luckily, not that there's a ton of money floating around, but if any company is going to give money to anyone, it's going to be someone that's going to be running the Pro Series, not the Pro Spec Series. And that's just the
Right.
reality of the current situation in drifting. A
Do
company...
you think you
Yeah.
could take a pro spec car, make some changes, and run that same chassis and engine in pro?
Uh, Andy Haitley does that. What's his face? Hansen does that. Um,
Because we've seen a lot of guys be like, let's start at the drawing board, and then they can't get into pro and they can't go be competitive because they're still figuring out their car. As opposed to taking that momentum out of pro spec, making the changes to make it competitive in pro, and like running with the devil, you know what I mean? But
well, you gotta think like for some drivers, it's a marketing thing. Some of these guys, their cars are destroyed anyways, and they're gonna build new chassis
right.
anyways. Like I know Osoli's chassis is pretty rough, especially after that hit he had. I know
Yes.
Mada's chassis. That thing should not be road legal. Um, if you've ever looked at that thing, holy cow!
I've not looked close enough. I'm gonna have to.
That thing is. I think that was its last drift event. Um, but but the thing is like sometimes you have to build a new chassis because the other one is just too beat up. So you got to remember that too. And I
Yeah.
think TLO's chassis been around for a couple years as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if there's some things that aren't completely straight on that thing as well. Um, so it makes sense to build a new car for a lot of guys. But yeah, you're right. You know, obviously he's not going to have any experience driving a Corvette. Or at
Right.
least I don't think he does. But I also heard he has a really good test facility up there in driving. So I wouldn't be too worried about it. I'm just curious to see on the financial side if he's going to be able to swing it or if anyone's going to be stepping up for him. And it would be cool to see. Because,
Yeah.
and then,
Because it's a big jump from pro spec to pro. It's double the events, double the effort, double everything. That's insane. It's not a little step up like everyone seems it is. I mean, for the driving, I say it's a little bump up, but for the amount of money, effort, time, dedication it takes to get to one to the other, it's absolutely double.
yep. And, you know, at that point, you need to make 1,000 horsepower in pro as well. Like you're
Yeah.
struggling if you're not, you know. And then the other thing is, so you move to obviously TLO. He's looking at building the C7. Next up, you got Connor O'Sully. O'Sully is an interesting one because he's kind of had the same mentality as TLL. He's like, okay, if I don't win Prospect, then I want to go run Prospect again. And I was talking to him and his dad and stuff, and I'm like, I mean, honestly, for you guys, if you want to improve, and I think his dad agrees with me, if you want to improve your driving, and you want to really make a name for yourself, you probably should be making because financially, I believe they have the ability to go run pro if they want to, and I think they should personally, just from a personal level. Um, I know they have other options to possibly do other things, but like they already bought another BMW chassis. I know to kind of
Okay.
swap everything over into that.
So he does
Because
have the S chassis. Was there any talk of him,
no, I
using
mean he was
that?
thinking about it, but then I believe the story goes he won in St. Louis and then decided to go with another BMW chassis instead of another S chassis.
Yeah.
So
Well, there goes the age-old argument of which is the superior chassis for drifting.
well, I mean, de- I don't know if there's necessarily a right answer still for that. I mean, you just look
There's
at it.
not. That's why it's a fun discussion to
Yeah,
have.
but yeah. So I believe his plan is to build another BMW. I know that some of them are leaning in his camp are leaning towards going pro. I don't know specifically what Connor wants to do yet, but I'm hoping they run pro next year. I think
Yeah.
he's got the program for it. He's got the money to do it, and he'll have the car to do it as well. I think it's worth it, but we'll see what he
Yeah.
wants to do.
We'll
And
see. I
then,
think he's more on the fence than we think because I know he was very like, if I don't make it, I'm not
mhm.
running pro. But when I talked to him, there was like, well, let me think about it. So I'm gonna give him some time, not ask him again next time I see
if
him,
it
and we'll see.
if he was to ask me, I would be like, absolutely. If you have the money, absolutely run pro.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I agree.
Um, so and then you get to the third guy, Austin Mata, a guy that's been trying to run pro for a long time now. I think it was might have been his rookie or second year. He did really good, almost got his license, and then he's kind of been fighting to try and get up there because I believe so. He has the money to run pro. He's already got another S chassis he's building for pro. And yeah, I mean that's the plan for him. He obviously is going to be looking like everyone else, looking for money, looking for sponsors, and see what he can do. But he's already gung ho to run pro next year. Going to be probably the same setup he's running right now, 1,000 horsepower, just bigger tire. He really likes how his car drives, and whatnot. So I think it'll be fun to see him. He's a little bit more of a wild child at times.
Which I love to see.
Yeah,
It's like it's giving very Chelsea, very like fuck you guys, like let's go, let's see how wild we can make this, which is like I love that. But when you're running like the ragged edge of
hmm
drifting, you make more mistakes there. So he's not one of those drivers who's like dialed every run, set it
right.
and
Well,
forget
the
it. It's
thing
like you see he's two
he's
tires off on this lap, and then he's just like the biggest heater I've ever seen on the next one. So
well, the thing with him is I think he's grown up a lot too, especially in the last couple of years. He's gotten a lot more mature with his driving. I would say this year has been his most consistent year by far in his driving. Every round, he looks like he's one of the top drivers in lead runs that I've seen. So I think I think he's kind of grown, and I think he's a great example of what this series is all about because he has run this series I think 4 or 5 years now, and he's
yeah,
slowly gotten better to a driving level to which I think is adequate for pro level, and I think that's kind of what this series was made to do. It was made to, have a competitive series, get your driving up, get better at driving, so that when you make the jump to pro, you don't look like you're a fish out of water. And I think
yeah.
Austin will be a good example of that. Um, and plus, he always, before he destroys the car, it looks great. So I appreciate his aesthetic style of his cars before he destroys them. And then
Yes.
then there's no hope after that. But you
Well, they put the bumper back on between day one and day two, which I appreciated. So
well,
points.
yeah, but I don't know if you saw the side of that car and the foot hole that's now in the side of it after hitting Amanda. Um, but yeah, we don't need to talk about that part.
No,
But like I
that's
said, I
not the
believe
background.
that was the last event that Chassis will probably see, unless it might see like a fun day or something. But yeah,
Yeah, like a little demo John. They all get retired down to there. Like when racehorses get to go just go eat grass in a pasture.
yeah, right. um, so Malik, I will get to your question. Probably will. So as of right now, I don't know of anybody for sure. Obviously, I know in prospect side, I know Donati's done driving. Um, he's kind
Yeah.
of he kind of, and that's kind of who he is. He gets tired of things, and then once he's not having fun, he's done. Like that's just how he operates. I've known him a long
He
time.
said to us on the live stream that he will be doing just a different form of motorsport, trying something
Yeah, yeah.
different, something exciting, so that he's still going to be in some sort of realm of our world, just not in drifting, at least for the foreseeable future.
Right. Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, and that's one of those things is where if you're not having fun doing it, it's a lot of money to spend to do something you're not having fun doing. You know.
Yep. My grandpa used to say you have to still love it on the days that you wad your car up or finish
hmm
poorly or don't do good. You still have to love it on those days too, or
Yeah.
you're in the wrong sport.
Yeah. So and here's the thing, like with um Malik is I'm probably not going to hear too much about it until Irwindale on if any pro guys are going to be stepping down after the season. That's usually when they make their
Plus,
announcements.
you never
You
know
know,
if anyone gets the old Travis Reeder special,
and just can't get
planning to
money.
run, and then your sponsors just yoink all their support out.
Yeah, and that happens, and it's he won't be the last person that we see that happens to. So, as of right now, I haven't heard. But obviously, there's been some very interesting things happen this year. Dean Kearney has not run what he said he was supposed to run. Zhao
Adam
Biavian,
has.
Adam has. Zhao
Adam's running
Biavian,
more than we were expecting him to run. Joao wasn't there. Um,
Frederico's missed quite a few rounds. So there, there's a bunch of different scenarios to see how things play out next year. But I mean, I think there's a bunch of changes that FT should make next year, and we'll kind of get to that when we talked about to the pro side of the bracket and stuff. But yeah, so pro spec overall, Dimitri gets the win. Um, I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen that in prospect over the years. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, Dimitri won the event, cool. I mean, that's the thing is he's just that good of a driver, you know, to where he and then any given day he's gonna be on top of the box. But I
right.
want to give a shout out to Margaritas.
Yeah.
Margaritas, he's one of those guys that I just feel like is a really good solid driver, but every once in a while it's like something silly happens or it just doesn't work out battle wise for him. But it was cool. He was able to put it together, get all the way to the finals, and then of course, look what happened. Something silly. Well, and this is one of my
D
gripes
Bead.
with D beats, and this is one of my gripes with this stupid track that they did is it caused 5 or 6 D beads in battles alone. And it ended the battle immediately, and that is not fun. And I am pro fun, okay. And
Agreed.
what I would have said is if anyone debeads because of that stupid rail, the thing that they have to drive over,
Right.
rerun the battle
Okay.
because
So if they go off track and D Bead, they're not rerunning.
no, just if they on
Only.
only if on entry because FD decided, hey, we want to drive over a rumble strip sideways with these 40 sidewall tires. It's like, guys, it ended Lee Yearwood's day immediately, and it's like, dude, I wanted to see that guy
Right.
drive, and now I don't get to see that guy drive
So
because of this stupid track.
I think this is my theory, so I'm going to say that. Nobody has said this out loud, but I'm pretty sure the D-bead rule is to keep these monkeys from running like 2 psi trying to
Right,
grip their shit up.
right, but the doesn't help when you made a track that goes over a rumble strip that has a big enough that is a larger gap than the sidewall of the prospect tire, and I don't like that. And it is not like we saw D beads in practice, we saw D beads in a bunch of battles. I mean, it ruined the finals of both Pro and Pro Spec. Like, come on.
Yup, that was my main thing. I don't ever want to see a final go out on a car that's broken.
Well, that's the thing, because it
Yeah.
wasn't broken. He just hit the bump just
I
right.
would say I agree with your rule change if they want to make that a rule change.
Oh, it's just so frustrating because I was like, it ruins so many people's
Yeah.
days where it's like, dude, I was just entering on someone's door. It's not like we're running super low tire pressures or anything. It's just if you hit it wrong, you're done. And then it gets
Eric
me to the
thinks
next.
that every driver should get one free tire change if they DB'd like a mulligan, I guess.
No, I don't think that. I just think if you are incapable of making a track that is flat-ish for the most part, and there is an obvious problem with that track, that you should make an exception for that part of the track. Which to me, there was a very obvious point. People were literally jumping on it watching it go up and down before the race even started.
I saw
Okay,
that.
it's very, it's just dumb. you know.
They're also saying in the chat that they felt like Utah was kind of boring. I don't know, maybe because I was there, it was exciting.
So for me, it wasn't boring because I know these drivers. I know the prospect guys. I know it was on the
Same.
line. I knew their
Yes.
emotions, and I was like feeling it for them, and I was hyped.
Yeah.
I thought the battle for third, that it came all the way down to the final four. I thought that was really cool
And I was
storyline.
sitting in the stands with Oselli's family members because obviously only a certain amount of people can go to
Yeah,
hot pit.
yeah, yeah.
And that made it so sick. Up Hobson's family sits up in the stands too. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe it was a round where you kind of have to like be invested in the storyline, be in attendance, and then it's like
Mm-hmm.
pretty exciting.
Yeah. So like for me, I'm not saying the event was bad. I thought it could have been better though, and that comes with my other gripe of the track is the fact that if your battle wasn't ended with a D bead, it was ended because one of the lead drivers decided to go 3 tires off on outer one because they couldn't see, or they're just kind of guessing on initiation because the visual aids are
Right.
so poor on the track. And this wasn't just a pro spec issue, this was also a pro issue. And I know this was a big
Yeah.
issue in the drivers meeting, and FD was just kind of like, you gotta figure it out. And
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the best attitude to go about it when both pro and pro spec are having issues with it, because if, let's say, a quarter of your battles are ending at outer zone one
As
on
soon as it
entry,
starts.
as soon as it
Yeah.
starts, it's like, why are we even doing this? Like that is why people felt like it wasn't very fun, is because a quarter of the battles ended on turn one.
Right.
And like that's not fun. In the way that, obviously the rules are, if you 3 tires off zero, it's, and the fact that they don't want to rerun if the other person gets a zero now, it's like, okay, so what are you supposed to do? The battle's
Right. Yeah.
basically over at that point. All the guy has to do, even if he plays a super crappy run, and
Yeah, which I kind of agree with the don't rerun it. Just because like you want to try to move the show along. I get that
mm-hmm,
because that's gonna add to the excitement if you can like knock these battles out. Um, I mean, there was a lot of dead time because of crashes, which I think was Outer Zone 1 had a lot to do with. Everyone knows drifting, if you don't start the run well, you're gonna mess up in other zones. So I think you have a good argument for Outer Zone 1 being not the best, but
well,
hopefully they can learn from
yeah,
this. I
but
mean, if
but
you want to see the drivers say it themselves, watch the live stream back
yeah,
when we went
no,
through the
and that
pits.
was the thing. Every time you asked a driver about the
Yeah.
event, number one thing they said was outer zone one sucks. Every single driver, and you
They
guys
just said they
can,
couldn't see, which
yeah.
is insane. They're like, yeah, I
AKA
just
it
couldn't
sucks.
see.
Okay, like you don't need to sugarcoat it. You just say, okay, it sucks. You know. Um,
Yeah.
and again,
So,
we kind of talked about this earlier when the stream went down, but it was like the reason they did it, partially was because the smoke line from outer one to outer two was really bad, and drivers were not couldn't see the track for a good like 3-4 seconds, and that's why they changed it to be a little bit more less straight line in order to hopefully help tandems. But unfortunately, it seems like it messed up the lead cars more than it helped the follow cars,
yeah.
in my opinion.
I think whoever suggested run it backwards is onto something, because if you think about it, the third turn, outer zone 3, starting with that's a nice smooth regular radius turn. So is 2, and that's a very quick transition between if you went backwards 3 to 2, and then you're sort of finishing on that weird check mark turn of
The
outer zone
only
1.
challenge is that all of the stands are at outer would be outer one, and you wouldn't be able to see the finals or the ending very good.
Yeah. So would you rather not see the entry or not see the exit? Because coming from someone
I would
who
like to
just
not see
had,
the entry. If I was a fan, I would want to
oh,
see the
okay.
end of the battle.
That's true.
Personally,
That's a good point. Because
you
we
know.
were in a prime position to see Outer Zone 2 and 3,
Hmm.
but no one in the stands, at least where I was, except for the live stream is right there on a screen in front of you.
Right.
Everybody was watching entry on that and then looking over to Outer Zone 2 and then watching 3. So,
Exactly. So, I guess we can swap over to pro. Uh,
okay.
actually, I guess actually what we should do, just quickly, I just want to see prospect standings and kind of see, give some
Yeah.
highlights to some guys that did well this year. Obviously you got Tommy in first, Connor Osoli in second. You got Austin Mott in third. We talked about all those guys. We talked about Cody. Fantastic
Right.
job by Cody. Um, Joshua Love. One of those guys that he's kind of expected to be up here. Honestly, I mean
Former
he's
pro, right?
exactly former pro, and as you see right there, Dimitri Bruschi, another guy that you expect to be in the top area of the bracket. Great job to those guys. Another guy that was looking at the third spot coming into this round was Nate Chen. Unfortunately, got knocked out a little early. Wasn't really in that conversation of getting that third place spot after that happened.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I personally think a solid year for him. I'm sure he wanted his licenses here. He seemed like he was really pushing hard this year. But almost there. And another guy to watch for next year. Margaritas, again, good solid events last couple. Obviously, you kind of just watch his score slowly go up each round. Another guy that kind of was getting better throughout the year. Good to see. He's a guy to watch for next year. You got
For
Jaden,
sure.
who's I believe 16, just
Yeah. One of the
crazy.
teens.
Yeah, this kid, he's gonna be getting better rapidly here, and another kid to kind of watch. Rudy rounding out the top 10. I think he's had a less than a desirable year. I think for him, but I talked to him. I talked to Rudy after the event. For him it was like
Right.
he said it was too much. Running
Running
pro.
both is a lot.
He said it was too mentally taxing to
Right.
really and just exhausting, and he said it's not something he wants to do next year. Uh, and the thing is, for him, he said he's just like
I would agree with that.
he said it wasn't fun. He said he thought it would be an interesting thing to try, and for now he's like, it's just not something he wants to do. So I was like, I totally get it, man.
Do you think we'll see more people run double duty,
No,
or we'll see nobody else running it?
no, I don't,
I
I
don't
don't,
think so
I don't
either.
think
I
so.
think it was a quirk of this season,
Hmm.
and I think we're done with that.
I mean, Dimitri's crazy, so he might do it again, but I don't think it'll be a.
Right.
I don't think it'll be a common thing. It's just so
Right.
much extra stress
Uh,
on a weekend, if you're already running pro. And then you just
Amanda's kind of in the hunt.
yeah, so you got Amanda up here. Congrats.
First
Pretty
podium.
pretty solid finish for the year. You got Sean in here, hits his second year, solid. Moving up his positions. Corey Talaska, another guy that I think has kind of improved this year. Um, and then you got your rookie of the year. You got Nick Jimenez in his 350Z. And that's with blowing up a turbo, I believe, at his first round. So
Nice.
another good solid job. Cole Richards, I believe, and then you kind of get into this mix of guys where there's some veterans in here, some guys that I think probably didn't have their favorite season, and that's
Right.
kind of just how it goes. And when you have all of these guys trying to get to that top spot, it's kind of tough. And all it takes is one bad round, and then you're like, okay, now I'm in 20th, sick,
Yep.
um, but yeah, no, honestly, prospect fun year. The guys that won, I believe, deserve to win. And yeah, so let's move over to It's so
Move
okay.
over to pro.
Yeah, so one of my issues also is okay, so I call it FD Utah. The hashtag is FDSLC, so it's FDS Salt Lake City. You go to their website and it's Grantsville. Like, guys, come on, can we figure out what
That's
we're
so
calling
dumb. Who knows
this?
where that is? Hold on. I'm going to pull up the app because the app says this cool new app, which is super helpful for following the bracket, especially for my dorky self.
Yeah.
They say Salt Lake in the app. So they're calling it 3 different things. Oh, we love Cat. So my gripe with calling it SLC is you have St. Louis, what, STL, Seattle. I don't know what the acronym for that is. And then it's too many of the same type of acronym. So I kind of like calling it Salt Lake. Oh my gosh, cat in the chat. The cat in the chat. I love
Except
animals. I'm
he
such a nerd.
starts
And he's
he start
orange.
so there's a keyboard over here and then he steps on it. He did this
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
round. He'll just start stepping on
If you're
things
ever
and moving
like
things. Oh, it's awful.
talking crap, you can be like, "What? Cat,
Yeah.
don't do that. Don't put crazy stuff in the chat."
But yeah, so obviously you come to pro and let's just start I'm going to talk about the seating bracket for like 10 minutes here cuz
Okay.
it's getting to a point where it's comical at this point. So few people show up now. The battles are okay. If your car runs, you win, except for like one solid battle, and then it's like you feel bad for the one guy that had to try and lose. You know, um, it's
And
like
then Turk had a buy run, and we had drivers that weren't competing
driving.
because they got knocked out in the seating bracket.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's a frustrating scenario that I think FD could have pivoted earlier and didn't for some reason. So it's just kind of like it's frustrating because the easy way to do this is like, okay, highest level driver that was knocked out in the first round gets to take that spot, or highest ranked, if that makes sense.
Yeah, just to fill it.
Yeah, just to fill it so that we're not running. And the thing is FD should know who's not being there at least a day or two before. And people, I think, would understand if they changed this to be like, hey, these two people aren't being here. We're throwing this guy over in this bracket so that they don't have to battle in that round. They just battle in the next round later. You know? Like, it'd be super
Yeah.
easy to do. And, I mean, I
I think
love the
so.
idea of this, but it does not
Yes.
work unless you have a. So, this is my solution for this. You need a wild card system for FD. That is the only way
Ooh.
that this is gonna work in the future is because you're gonna lose drivers throughout the year. You're gonna have people that don't show up to every round, and you want to actually make these actually have fun. You want to make actually good. How cool was it when the first round we had Manoa, Shanahan, and Vaughn getting Jr. all in the seating bracket
It was
at
sick.
Long Beach? How sick was that?
Yeah.
Okay,
That
so
was dope.
imagine you come and you bring in a just ex pro driver like Justin Pollock comes in. He's like, hey, I'm gonna run this round. I'm gonna go. He lives in Utah, I think, or that area.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, I'm gonna come run Utah and just see what I can mess up, or
Right. Like our good buddy
because
Ken Gucci
Vaughn
said.
already does that. Vaughn already is like, hey, I'm gonna show up to whatever round I want to show up, and you're gonna let me race. Why can't
Do
we
you
do that
think
with other
FD
people?
should sanction like wild card licenses where you like
Absolutely,
say, "Hey, I want to run Orlando. That's the only
absolutely.
event I'm going to show up to."
Talk to some DMEC drivers. Be like, hey, yo, Dwayne McKeever, you want to come over for a round? Let's see
Come
what you
F
can
up the
do.
points.
You
Let's
know,
go.
like it's so easy. Like, hey, Di, you want to come out of retirement for a round and just drive with everyone? Let's go. You know, like
Yeah.
it's not hard to make this concept really fun, but you put a little work in. You have to like, okay, make some hard decisions of like who we're gonna let in be a wild card and stuff. But it's like, look at DMEC.
Yeah.
They're getting Mad Mike for Poland. Like that's a huge
Oh,
name.
that's so sick.
Like that's a huge
Yeah.
name. It would just add a whole lot of
Who's the
eyes to the
doorknob
championship.
that said Mad Mike can't drive? It was on Derp this week or something.
Samet, driver in Japan,
I don't know who
which
that is.
he runs the FD Japan series. But to be fair, I don't. what's has he won it? Has Mad Mike won his series lately? Maybe he's run.
Well, okay.
Has he won FD Japan? Maybe it was like a couple years
There
ago.
there's a
I don't know.
certain amount of people that like even if you haven't been killing it lately, you have the collective clout for lack
Right.
of a
Well, the
better word
thing
that like
is
you killed it for so long.
he's a marketing genius, and that's what is so impressive with him. Is what
Yeah.
he's done in the marketing space and what he's done, even for the sport of drifting. Really, I mean, he's
Like
iconic. You know,
has
he's
Reese Millen
to me.
won any drifting stuff recently? But he's one of the best drivers to ever do it.
Yeah, but he's also won a lot of other shit and like other
Yeah.
racing. I would equate him more to like a Ken Block. You know, Ken Block didn't win a whole lot of stuff, but man, he the most known driver in the world. You know,
Yeah.
it
Yep.
doesn't really matter if you win if you're that well known. Like people are gonna be
Right.
like, heck yeah, like excited to see you, and that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need more of that in drifting. You know,
I love your wild card idea. You should shop that.
I already have. I've already been like, yo, like why are we not inviting people to come out and drive? You
Yeah,
know?
that would be really cool.
Yeah, I don't know. FD needs to get off their high horse and like start trying to find ways to better market the series.
Yeah. And just in case FD or anyone that's in FD is listening, it's not that we're critiquing to be like assholes or to be those people who just love to poke holes and everything. Myself and you, we're drifting nerds. We want to see drifting explode and be the coolest thing on the planet. We want to see drifting be F1. That's the only reason why we're like criticizing for the sake
No,
of being
I
there.
mean, I
So,
just see what DMEC is doing and be like, damn, that would be really cool. Why can't
yeah.
we do that here? And I
Or at
don't see
least
a
take
reason why
some
we can't.
pieces.
Yeah.
Take some inspiration and make it better.
Yeah,
That's
because
good for everybody.
I've already said I like this better than regular qualifying. But,
Yes, you have.
you know, Chuck, you can tell Edgar all you want, okay? I just know that whoever told Edgar whatever I said, I know it's going to be you. So,
Unreal, dude. Unreal. I just exist some places, and some people are like, Sarah's over there talking mad shit. Meanwhile, I'm like, what's your favorite dinosaur? Like, be so for real. No, yeah.
so
I'm gonna
Celine
beat you
says
up,
if
Chuck.
anyone can sign up for FD even without a license, the seating would be even worse. Also, I'm sure that venues wouldn't be large enough to accommodate more the drivers.
I think
So
what Nate's getting at is it's like one approved wild card.
no, I'd
Like,
do
it
like
wouldn't
5 or
be
6.
just
But still,
okay. All right, girl.
here's the
Okay.
thing: you can find drivers, whether they're ex-pro drivers or, and this is my other idea that I brought up. Why don't we reward a pro spec driver that wins a pro spec round?
Okay.
Why not give them a chance to go run a pro round?
Or like
Why not?
golden
You know?
ticket. Like pick a
Exactly.
driver who's just killing it in another series or like killing it in general. Like, hey, FD, we're selecting this person for this golden
Yeah.
ticket. Like, let's go, dude.
The
You think
reality
you
is,
can run it?
the reality of is there are a lot of good drivers in America. There are a lot of good drivers that would in the Europe and stuff that would love to come over and drive, but they cannot afford to drive 8 rounds. So if you
Right.
give them an opportunity to come drive 1 or 2 rounds, like tons of drivers, really good ones, would be able to do that. And I'm telling you, like for example, Connor Shanahan came over, Minoa came over. Let's say they were only driving Long Beach. They made it a sick seating bracket.
So sick.
You know?
Yes.
So I don't see a problem as long as they properly vet the drivers, which is pretty easy to do because we live in a world of social media. You can see if the driver can drive or not. There are tons of series to go scout people. Honestly, I think that they're really cool. I just want more DMEC drivers to come over here, and I think this is an easy way to do that, personally.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that. Hey,
and then
totally on board.
So the other thing that Celine brings up is venue space. Honestly, I don't know what venue we go to that wouldn't be able to handle at least another 10 more cars. Pretty easily. I think Seattle's pits are somewhat tight, but I still think you could fit 10 more cars in there.
And you pick it, you limit your wild card guys to the venue itself. Like you know not to invite 20 more guys to Orlando or whatever.
Yeah, this isn't like a hey, free pass, run whatever round you can.
Right, no.
You schedule it out. You'd be like, okay, You'd be like, okay, Jack Shanahan's going to be making this round. We got Peter Vysik's making it to this round. We got Justin Pollock is coming out to this round. We
So
got
sick.
Dai Yoshihara's coming out to this round.
Chelsea
Like,
Denofa's coming out to
yeah,
this round.
Chelsea's going to come drive this round, you know? Have him bring the Fox Buddy out. Let's see,
Yeah.
get some real talk.
Dude, you know he would love to come like frick some people up. If you know him though, if it's
Yeah.
worth his while. But I'm sure if the stars aligned and he could afford it, he would bring
Dude,
the Fox body
someone,
and try
I
to
guarantee
like
you, if someone would give Chelsea a car to come fuck some people up, it would be great.
Yeah. Love that.
Doesn't matter.
Oh god, this is like reinvigorated. I'm like
Well,
ready to run a marathon.
it's not
now.
it's not a hard concept to kind of figure it out, and you know, it just takes a little bit of homework and a little bit of work on FD's part to organize that stuff, and to plan ahead, which is a huge struggle for these guys. It seems like some of the time. I don't how many times I've showed up to a track and they're like, we'll figure out the layout. I guess you guys can stand there for media. Not really sure yet. The reality is the media boxes are never actually set until like the third day. Because they change. They'll be like, oh yeah, by the way, you can stand here now. Oh, I'm like, oh sick. I wish I would have known that 2 days ago. But it's just one of those things where
Yeah.
hey, I like the idea. Now let's improve on it, and I think we can.
Yes.
But
Continuous improvement is important because we have to remember at the end of the day, this entire thing is run by drifters. And like, we're not the most like professional homies, but every year getting a little bit better. That's why, again, like you said, I love the seating bracket because that's a step in the right direction of impacting some change that could be great, with maybe a few more tweaks. I don't know.
dude, how sick would it be if Tanner Faust came back for a round?
That'd be so dope. That'd be so dope.
Honestly, I don't think it would go very well for him, but just because he's been out of it so long. But
It's so great. And like we could call out our favorite drivers, like, oh, you're talking crap about FD. Get in the wild card, dog. Throw your hat in the ring. Let's go. Run it.
It's true though.
That's cool.
But the other thing is the reality is, in my opinion, FD took like 2 steps forward and like 1 step back this year. My other problem has been with the rule system, and they've made the rules a lot more vague. They've made them a lot more gray, and my number one thing with drifting in general is I want to get more people involved in the sport. And if you make it that much harder for people to understand the sport and understand what calls you're making, you make it that much harder for new people to get involved in the sport. When even people that have been watching this sport for 10 years are still confused with some of your calls, like, that's a problem. Because how is someone that's literally coming to their second drift event ever or first drift event ever supposed to understand a thing when you have professionals of 10 years of being like, I have no idea what they're calling,
Yeah. And I got to sit next to a few newbies that were coming in very excited. And I was like, dude, bounce ideas off me as much as you want because I want you guys to love this and come out to another round. So, obviously you can't do that. That's not very effective person to person, but there's got to be a way, maybe, some sort of like press conference before the season or like, hey, here's the points.
It's making your rules more black and white. I don't like the fact that they made a straighten for less than 2 seconds not a 0 anymore. I like
and I think they rolled that back a little bit though, didn't they?
They rolled it back a second. I think it was 3 seconds, now it's 2 or something. But the thing is too, I don't like the fact that they're like, hey, we got two someone zeroed their lead and someone zeroed their chase. Rerun them. That's how drifting has been for the last 10 years. And then you're like, no, actually, I don't want to do that. I just rather compare the leads and or whoever had the lead wins or whatever. And I'm just like, dude, it's pretty simple. Hey, you guys each had a 0, rerun them. Another one is like the D beating rule. Like, there was another one. There was another rule as well. I was just like, it's kind of just like, you figure it out, like it's whatever the judges feel like at the time period, I don't know.
Do you like that they change judges for every round?
I don't have a problem with that. I just feel like the judges have a hard rule book to work with. True. Because it's not black and white. It's all gray, and it's like, It's frustrating because you like.
I know.
And the problem is I know why they do it. I know why they do it. They do it so that they
Right.
can fudge whatever call, so that they're not liable for any call. Because they took away petitioning, so they have to make the rules gray so that you can't act. So you can't get upset because you can just be like, well, this gray part of the rule actually gives the advantage to the other driver because we chose it to look at this gray part of the rule,
Yeah.
and
So
it's like
I think a lot of these decisions were because they're trying to get the show to a manageable length so that we can get on network television, which like I am a huge proponent of. Every time I see like hacky sack on ESPN, I want to just like I get so mad, dude, because why is drifting not on ESPN or some other?
why has it got to be
It's so
live?
dumb. Well, they run it back and it's not as exciting. Either way, I am here for the cause of
I
like getting the show to a manageable spot so that they can get it on a
I'm under
network.
the
Because
age
guess
of
what that means?
I'm under the age of 30 still, so I don't watch TV.
Me neither. But I would put on like you know that our dumbasses grab YouTube and we sit here and we watch a live stream. So what's the difference between putting on ESPN and watch? I watch football. I'm a dork. Go
Because
bird.
there's no way you
But
can put like a whatever this 4-hour program on ESPN.
so they're trying to get rid of protests, make it go faster,
Yeah,
choose a battle without having to rerun it.
the
I
reality
do
of
like
drifting is I don't think that works though because you still got to swap tires. People are broken.
I
You really
know.
can't run a top 4 battle before you finish top 8. Like there's all these different things that already slow the competition down. It's like I get it, but I would rather
Right.
understand the sport better and get more people involved that in the sport and like enjoy the sport because they know what the hell is going on.
I
Then,
agree. I agree.
but I
I'm
don't know.
still gonna keep that dream because I don't want to see hacky sack. I don't want to see professional rock paper scissoring on the on ESPN. I want to see drifting up there,
You
dude.
would want to see scissoring.
I
Um,
came out the closet today.
yeah. What's new?
For those of you who don't understand that joke, the only spot in the hotel room I was in at the last round to do my hair, there was an outlet in the closet, so I was in the closet, and then I do a little bit of voiceover stuff, and my voiceover studio is my upstairs closet. But my Wi-Fi was ass, so I came downstairs to my couch.
It's still ass to be fair, but
Okay.
I can't say much either because I've dropped 2 streams. But it helped when I closed all 20 of my tabs that I had open. Shocker! I wonder why my internet sucked.
Shame, 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 shame. Hold on, I think the chat is popping off about this particular issue. I think we should.
Yeah, usually I'm a lot better at reading chats, but I decided to get upset about things.
No, it's we're passionate. We're not upset. We are passionate about this sport. And people need to understand that we're not haters. We just want to see it do good.
Oh, I'm not hating. I just like you said, I want more money in the sport so I can make more money.
Yeah. Malik thinks that they need to fix some core issues before they go to national television. I completely agree with you. Again, that's why we're like bringing some critique, and I hope they don't take it personally. But it's we just want what's best for them. And then Celine says that his fiance won't stream FD at her brewery. She has a brewery. About to visit that. And his best friend won't invest because he thinks it's trashy. Aw. It's a branding issue.
Interesting.
Ah. Dude, that breaks my heart a little bit because is it a little trashy?
I personally don't think it's trashy. I think it's pretty professional.
I think it's pretty
Right?
professional too.
But my problem, you know why they think it's trashy is because they're not educated and they don't understand how the sport works.
How do we educate the masses?
Make
Nate?
it
Do we
easy to understand. Black and white rules.
They could run around the pits talking with drivers and teams. Hello, Formula Drift. If you would like me and Nate to run around the pits talking to drivers and teams, sanctioned, please let us know. We would love to provide that service for you.
Yeah. But,
Shutter Slayer's back from the longest beer break I've ever witnessed. Wait, you guys are getting paid? No, we're not getting paid. Heavily not getting paid. Ask my credit card.
oh man. But, I don't know. Brandon asks why they don't stream the drivers meeting, and it looks like we lost Sarah. It's unfortunate. It wasn't me, I promise. I didn't do it. But I noticed her Wi-Fi was doing rough things. So we'll see if she pops back in here. But Brandon, so the reason they don't stream.
Oh no! I'm so upset right now. Are we back?
Yeah, you're back. You're back.
Oh, I was gone.
It's
Okay.
just you.
I was panicking. I had my phone out. I was about to call you and be like, did I get kicked out?
No, you were just
Did
talking
the
to.
FBI?
You were talking too much
Yeah.
shit. That's the problem. I was like, you know what? We need to put a
An FBI
muzzle.
guy like crashes in my thing.
Yeah, we need to muzzle you. Um, but the thing is, so Brandon asked, why don't they just stream the drivers' meeting? And there's a bunch of legal reasons why you would never want to stream a drivers' meeting. There's a lot of stuff that's discussed, and a lot of ways that, a lot of words that, a lot of things that can be taken out of context to confuse
For sure.
things. Um,
And they've even made it more strict in years past. I used to spot back in the day when it was Pro 2, and they would like let, if you were part of the crew, you could come to the drivers meeting, and now it's very like closed door. I don't necessarily disagree with that. They maybe should take some points from and they do. The announcers talk about it a little bit. But maybe they should do it just a little bit more about, hey, this was discussed in the drivers meeting, or maybe this is a new change for this round, or this is a note that's like specific to Utah or whatever.
So what my opinion would be, after each battle, have a judge explain why someone win and why someone lost. They do it like once every like 10 to 15 battles. I feel like they have a judge talk.
Yeah.
Do it after
They have
every
enough
one.
downtime.
Do it after every battle. Just be like, hey, and to be fair, the judges are not great at, a lot of them are not great at, you hear them get on and they're like, yeah, so this guy missed this outer zone and this outer
Reese
zone.
is good. Reese is good, and I have a hot take. I think Sopa as a judge could be sick, and we already know that dude can talk on camera.
Yeah, but the thing, I mean, I'm not gonna say who can be judges or not, because I think that's above my pay grade. But the thing is you need to have more people explaining the basics of the sport more consistently. And I know some people might get sick of it, but like, I don't care how obvious the call is. Bring a judge in, get these judges more equated to talking to the public and giving real answers of like, hey, because there's also a huge disconnect between the drivers and the judges during the events, because some of them don't know why they lost, and obviously they don't provide explanations for most of the runs, and so they're just kind of left in the dark,
If the judges don't want to talk physically, do you think the announcers should?
Why not talk? What's wrong with talking?
I don't know. It's not a lot of people want to do
it.
Being a judge is already a thankless job.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, okay, all right. He's coming with the heat.
You made the call. Justify it now. I don't have look. The judges have a lot of power. I don't have sympathy if they can't justify their decision. Personally.
Okay. See, I have sympathy because it's like,
it's a hard job. I get it, but there's also a reason that they're there.
You ask me to decide between Brutski and O'Sully, who I think won. Fuck, I'm gonna have a hard time. Well, I might just be like,
I just make sure you have all your camera angles and your notes down. True. And if you have good notes after each run, you should be able to be like, all right, according to my notes, this guy missed this zone, and this zone. So therefore, it kind of combined to where I thought his lead run outdid his lead run, and they were kind of even in the chase. So that's kind of where he won it for me, and that's all you got to do, Yeah. Just read your notes. Be like, okay.
Read your notes. Okay, Malik says that FD needs more notable characters, drama, overall increase in professionalism, more Denofas, Deans. Okay, so obviously love Denofa, huge fan. But do you mean professionalism as in like polished professionalism, or just as in a professional driver?
For me, because when I hear professionalism, I especially with that lady in the bar story, it's education. Because I think that Jared, for the most part, can be annoying at times, but he's professional. It's not like he's out there.
He's extremely professional.
It's not like he's swearing and
right.
I mean, Jacob
chugging
and him
beers and all that.
Yeah, Jacob and him get off topic a couple times, but for the most part, they're just trying to hype everybody up. And I don't. For when I hear professionalism, I hear just education and not giving proper explanations to things. And maybe Malik's talking about the level of live stream as of, for example, the live stream of FD versus the Red Bull live stream that is done at DMEC. Unfortunately, the cost that Red Bull puts into that live stream at DMEC is
Yeah.
astronomically more than the one that FD produces, and that's just reality. I don't know where Red Bull's getting all of that money to do that live stream in DMEC, but somewhere they're getting crazy money to do really cool stuff. But I already know FD pays a crap ton of money just to do the live stream that they have here, and
Right.
it's like the reality is live, like real big live streams like that are like 30-40 grand an event. Like, come
Yeah,
on,
whatever
like
fraud Red Bull is doing, let me know. I would love to also do it.
it's
Because
just
they
great.
also fund F1. Like, how much money do these people have?
That's
Two
it's a
teams in F1.
it's a long story.
Okay.
But
They're like running a front. It has
mhm,
to be.
it's
If you're
crazy.
watching this, Red Bull, I'm just making this up. Don't kill me.
Yeah. So, but yeah, but Chuck's right. I mean, Red Bull makes a lot more money than FD, but that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Red Bull's putting on it instead of here FD is putting on it. DMEC is not putting on that live stream, and I guarantee you, if
Right.
DMEC was putting on a live stream, it would be much more comparable to what the FD live stream is. Guarantee you.
All right, let's get Monster Energy in here. Let's go toe to toe with the boys. The Monster Energy live stream.
Well, technically, Rockstar is the big sponsorship at
Okay,
FD.
the Rockstar live stream.
Yeah.
Leave the Kyles at home. The drywall's safe, dude.
But yeah, I think I don't know. It's tough to compete with that because
Yeah.
I think you could clean it up though, especially if you had a clean feed and like was able to post this professionally like on a TV series like after the fact. I
Mm-hmm.
think I think you could make it look pretty nice with what's given to you. All
For sure.
right, so let's actually talk about the pros because we still haven't even gotten into that.
Oh my god.
Let's
We
look.
got all jazzed up on FD. Anyway, so pro
Andy,
battle.
Andy Haitley won the seeding bracket. Shout out Andy Haitley. Got his
Right.
got a couple wins underneath his belt. We also had Ben Hobson get the win against Brutsky. Another solid battle. Actually, Brutsky blew up his engine.
He
that
did.
battle. I remember
But
that.
after the battle was over, right? Or was it in the middle?
No, it was
I
the
think
first.
it was after.
No, it was the
Okay.
first run. First
Okay.
run. Because Ben messed up actually.
True.
But Dimitri lost his engine, so Ben gets the win. Unfortunate reality of drifting sometimes. But I think Ben felt I was happy to, get some runs under that Mustang. It was good to see him
Yeah,
out
and
there. Like
for sure.
He's had some rough weekends in that car where it will
100%.
just not work. So I was really happy to see him just like get some laps underneath himself there.
Yeah. And he was towards the end, I think it was the seating bracket. He was whipping that thing. Like he is pouring it on in 2 and just hucking it into 3. And everyone in the stands was just loving it. So like it's nice to see him coming into his own. I think you just need a few X amount of laps under that Mustang, and then you're like, oh shit, I know how to drive this now. Like, let's go. But it was good to see him like really throwing it down. I think he definitely earned some of those wins towards the end of it.
Yeah. So, again, he did well. Who lost? Federico Shrifo lost to Diego Higa.
Oh, yeah.
That was a spicy battle.
A big ouchie.
Obviously, he had Denofa grip his car up a lot more than it's used to. It looked fast, but you also have to be able to drive when your car is that fast. And unfortunately, if you don't slow down in time and you hit someone, that's
Yeah.
what happens. Obviously,
Yeah, I think that was a perfect storm of like Higa slowing a little bit and just Federico coming in hot.
Yeah. Yeah, another battle. So I just want to personally say, so this Daniel Stuckey Robert Thorne battle, Robert Thorne DB'd, but it's because he drops a tire. It's not because of entry. So I don't think he gets to rerun that battle. I know we had this conversation
Right.
earlier about them going over the rumble strips on entry and how I thought it was dumb that drivers didn't get to rerun the battle when they literally have to drive over a rumble strip to hit a zone. But if you
Yeah.
drop a tire in the dirt and DB'd because of that, then I think that's, yeah, you shouldn't be able to rerun that because you went off course.
So they can, correct me if I'm wrong here, if there is contact, they can
Correct.
change a tire.
Yeah,
Okay. Which I
but
think is a good rule.
correct. I mean, that's all. That should be a given. But I just got annoyed with so many battles being ruined because they went over the wrong rumble strips at the wrong angle, and it
Right.
was a big enough gap to like mess a bunch of cars up. But
Absolutely.
All
All right. Who else in this? We don't always get what we want in life, and that's an important lesson to learn.
No, a bunch of these guys didn't make it out, like Power and obviously Vaughn, Zhao, Forrest, and Dean. None of those guys were able to make it out here, which is unfortunate. Again, I would love to see a filled up seating bracket again and see some really cool battles.
Same. Which we could remedy with your wild card theory. So
Or even
jot that down.
promoting a prospect driver that wins the round. Like honestly,
Right.
how cool would it be if you're a prospect driver and be like, "Hey, I
Yeah.
want to round a prospect, and FD is giving me an opportunity to run a pro round, whatever pro round I want, as long what I would do to a prospect driver would be like, hey, you want to round a prospect, you get to drive one round of pro that is not on the same weekend as prospect or something."
Oh,
And
neat. Like a round they wouldn't normally go to.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and then you get a pick.
Right.
That'd be cool.
I think that would be cool. I'm here for
I
it.
mean, to be fair, everyone that runner won in pro spec this year, I think would do for just fine. And obviously,
I think so,
Dimitri
too.
is
Already
in
runs pro.
so-
Yeah.
Um,
So,
but yeah, so obviously you get into the battles here. The big story was between Dean and Odie. Is Odie gonna keep his hopes alive? Turns out it's not really alive, but
it's not
that's
really
a little
alive.
spoiler alert. But
We saw the points,
yeah,
and it is 35 points for top 32. So I think as long as Dean takes the line in top 32, he gets it. There's no way that Odie could beat him. But stranger things have happened. What if he doesn't show up? What if he breaks in practice? Then he does not get top 32 points, and Odie could beat him by winning the entire event. That's crazy.
yeah.
That's
Well,
crazy.
I mean, it's just one of those things where like I got a little excited and then I actually saw the math and I was like, oh, okay.
I know. I got
But
excited too because I want to see it like be like a
be
fight.
something
I want to
real,
see
yeah.
her. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. We're
Yeah.
nerds.
Yeah, as Pedro said, Dean just needs to show up. But besides that though, I do want to give a shout out to Odie though, because that's the best driving I've ever seen Odie do, and I've seen some good rounds of Odie driving, but
Yeah.
that dude was driving like a madman all
Love that.
weekend. And he did not have an easy bracket, let me tell you.
Mm-mm.
First battle,
Nope. Let's see his battles.
Higa.
Yeah.
Next battle, Connor Shanahan. Well, no slouch. Next battle, Jeff Jones. Sorry, Jeff.
Coming off an absolutely great last round in
Yeah,
Seattle.
beating James Dean last round. All right, good luck. Let's see if you can beat Odie. And then Odie wins. Then the final 4 round, James Dean versus Odie Bashi's. Great battle. Odie wins. Makes it in the finals. Gets the win. Or doesn't he? Does he get the win? I can't even remember now. Am I dumb?
Odie got the win. Yeah, he won
okay.
the whole thing.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure, verify.
I know. It all
Yeah.
blends together.
Yes.
So I get you.
Yes, I saw the podium. I'm just dumb. Okay.
We all saw the podium. Our brains are fried from that Utah sun. We're cooked.
But I like Malik's comment here. The Connor Shanahan Odie Botches battle was one to remember.
Yeah.
To be fair, every battle against Connor Shanahan seems to be one to remember. The battles that we've
Yes.
had between James Dean and Connor Shanahan, the previous couple rounds were awesome. So I think.
Yeah.
I think.
And Malik says Connor pushed Odie to another level, and I think I said that something similar in our last live stream.
Mhm.
Odie is like Seabiscuit. if he sees you horse racing next to him, he's running even faster. Like Odie will bring you the heat if you're gonna bring it. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
love that.
Obviously, got to give some shout outs to Trent Beecham. Uh,
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately, losing to Up D Bead, I believe, was on entry, right?
I don't remember where it was. It might have been in 3.
I can't remember now.
I don't remember. But yeah, losing, not battling, that's always gonna suck for me.
No,
I
it
always
was on
want to
entry. I
see.
remember seeing Osbo's video
Okay.
of it. It was another one
Yeah,
of
I
those
think you're right.
D
I
beat
think
on
you're right.
entries. Again, ruining the battle because that's what we like to do and ruining fun. But yeah, no, great driving from Beecham all weekend. He, obviously went up against Matt Field in top 16. You're like, okay, well, Matt Field's been ripping all weekend. He beat Simon Olsen in 32 with a great battle. We're like, okay, cool.
Yep.
Good luck, Trent. Then he beats him, and it's like,
That was cool.
okay.
Technically an upset.
Yep. Upset.
Everyone kind of roots for the underdog.
Exactly. And then obviously him and Hurst, great battle. And unfortunately, the tire did not want to stay on against Osbo. But, can't win them all. I just want another really kind of a cool thing that I noticed. Adam LZ's car on outer 2, his front or his inside wheel did not touch the ground for pretty much all of that corner. It was pretty funny to watch.
Dude, love that.
Like I
love
saw
a hooked up car.
Yeah, I just that car was fast, and that car drove on 3 wheels most of the run, and it was really funny to see.
Yeah.
But I mean, that car is fast. I think he overshot 1, which is the other issue with the track is that the visual aids, again, huge conversation all weekend with the drivers. The visual aids for Outer Zone 1 were terrible, and it cost. So debeating on 1 or going off on 1 by the lead driver literally killed 25% of the battles all weekend. And I think is a big reason why people are kind of down on the round itself because so many battles were killed at Outer 1.
And even if they didn't go 3 tires off or 2 tires off, if the battle was close and one driver had a tire off in one and the other one didn't, the other one was winning. They were scoring it very heavily if you dropped even a tire in one. And I was wondering if that was sort of like to roll off of St. Louis, if there was a wall there and you dropped a tire, you would have been Adam LZ's 50-50 grind dying. So I don't know if they're like trying to gear up the judging for adding barriers everywhere. I don't know what they're trying to get after, but
I mean, the drivers wanted walls. Like, if they had a choice, they would just put walls there because then they could have something to shoot for.
NASCAR has a safer barrier. What if you do like an actual concrete wall and then like some sort of rubber john in front of it?
That's what they do at Drift Masters. Watch their Poland event next weekend.
Yeah.
It's all flat walls all the way around.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, just do that.
But what are they? I think they're talking smack in the chat right now.
Well, Chuck always does. But Chuck was saying it was even hard for them to see Outer 1 in the live stream, and it's like that should tell you something. I mean, the reality is it was hard to see Outer 1 unless you had a drone. For anyone to see it, like to be fair, the only way the judges saw Outer 1 is because of video footage.
Drone.
You couldn't see it from the actual judging tower. Spotters couldn't see it, so during practice, the spotters had no idea if you were deep or not. And so there was no way to give info to drivers like, hey, that you were a foot off the inside, you got a foot more to push, or be like, oh, you just dropped a tire about 6 inches off, so maybe pull it back just a hair. Like, there's no way to give that kind of feedback from where the guys were.
Yeah, they did have cones for part of it, but I don't think the cones were there in Pro Spec, and the cones were getting yeeted into the stratosphere like every other run.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Anyway. The FD guys working over there were quite annoyed.
I'm sure.
But it's just one of those things where they tried to fix something and then it created 3 other problems, and it's like. You take 1 step forward and go 3 steps back.
That's part of it. That's trial and error.
Mm-hmm.
They took 39 tries to get WD-40, baby. Don't give up. Let's go.
Yeah. Oh, that was a
Thanks, like, shut up.
great analogy there, bud.
Thanks. Aren't you glad you have me on?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's better than talking to myself because Herbie, had a had stuff to do, I guess, tonight.
I hope he's okay. Hope he's not upside down in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah, he'll be fine. I'll talk to him tomorrow, and he'd be like, "Hey, man, I couldn't make it. We were doing things with I don't I think he might be with Bystrack, but it's just like they had
Yeah.
to do things or something. I'm like, oh, okay, it's fine. It's no big deal. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Overall, the event for us was a fun one because we got to challenge a lot of stuff. It's always a fun. The last round of prospects always really intense for me, just because I am friends with all of the prospect drivers. I kind of
Yeah.
have to be for my job,
Right.
and plus I work with a ton of them.
Come on, you're
So
just a fan of drifting. You're just a
yeah,
big fanboy. It's okay.
well, I know a lot of their stories. I know where they are. Whether it's financially or just like where they're at in their careers and stuff. I know a lot of
Yeah.
their pasts, and it's cool to kind of see the acclamation of, okay, who's gonna get that third spot like this weekend, who's gonna get the championship, who's
Right.
getting their license, like who's making top 10, who's improving from last year, who's doing worse, who had a bad year, who had a good year, and it's cool to see. They're all, I mean, a lot of those guys are just, they're there to have fun. They're there to get better, and it's not been an easy road this year for them.
No,
Whether it's
it has not.
the inflation, uh, big crashes, or just or they're a rookie and just experiencing the shock of driving FD for the first time and the sticker shock that it takes to run a series like this. Um,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of these guys are they got a lot of emotions in that they're putting into this, so.
Yeah.
End of the year, great year for those guys. The pro event ended up being pretty fun, even though it's pretty much decided for Dean, and I think FD has heard a lot of voices this weekend, and I would be shocked if things were not changed for next year. I don't know if
Sure.
whether it's a new track or they're just going to change the layout for next year.
Yeah, and I think it's important that we, give a little grace
Mm-hmm.
because at the end of the day, we all want the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully they, are able to listen and make some changes where they see fit and know that we're just all big, huge fanboys at the end of the day, and we just want to see more sideways burnouts.
It's true, man. All right. I think I rambled on long enough for this stream. I apologize for all of the other crappy streams that I tried to put on that did not
Yeah.
work. That will not happen
Yeah.
again. That was completely my fault and self-inflicted because I'm dumb. And
That's okay.
and hopefully we'll have some more stuff. I don't know. Would you guys want to see some more of these shows, even if it's not like the week before FD? There's always car content to talk about. There's always drift masters to talk about. There's always other things to talk about.
For sure. We're
And
certified yappers.
the thing is for me to help, like, let's say my fans out or people that want to, be a part of the videos and stuff and talk about different things. To be honest, the best way to go about this is to have a schedule and to do something every week at the same time so that people can come hang out and we all talk about drifting and talk about how
Love that.
dumb people are, how awesome people are, or talk about how this person needs to learn how to drive and then this person needs to learn how to not put it into a wall and this person
Yeah.
needs to like chill out. Like, so there's always things to talk about.
We can do a fun segment. What's broken on Sarah's car this week?
Oh man, what's broken about your life? It's great.
The whole life. The car I can handle.
But but here's the thing. So it's something that I want to try to start to do. It's just going to be trying to figure out what's going to work out, and if we can kind of create some topics towards the end of the year to kind of have some fun with some things and whatnot. And we'll see what people availability. Maybe we can invite some people out, maybe some prospect guys. I know they would love to come on and hang out. But it's just one of those things where I want to try and put some more value into this. And you guys came out and showed up on Saturday for when we were doing stuff with Sarah. So honestly, you guys in the chat and you guys this weekend kind of verified some stuff for me that this is a worthwhile endeavor to start pushing more towards and doing some fun stuff. So
Yeah,
excited.
and thank you guys again. If I didn't already say it in the live stream, like I was kind of getting a little bit burnt out on chasing this dream, and doing the lives with you specifically, everyone watching and commenting and joining kind of like reinvigorated, the chase for doing some more stuff and drifting. So thank you guys.
Yeah, awesome. All right, hopefully we have some more info to you guys soon, and if
Cool.
not, we'll at least see you before the next round of FD.